challenging and remarkable for me is episode 6, where I go in. Have you watched them all?
Yeah.
Yeah, where I go into where Aerion is with the knife, and I'm going to kill him. And then I go in, and I have so many emotions in my head. I'm like, I've got to kill him, but I've not got to kill him. He's my brother. Blah 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 blah. Should I save Doug? Should I tell Doug? Blah blah. Just thinking all these things, and then he goes in, and he's about to kill him. He wants to kill him so bad, and then Maekar's there, and he just puts his hand on his shoulders, and all the tears were real. That was probably the most emotional scene I've ever done in my life, and I'm very proud of that scene.
Yeah.
And then he just puts his hands on my shoulders, and I just forget everything, and I just go blank, and yeah. What do you think yours is?
I think mine was probably doing the speech and the lists on the horse as well. Was probably because that was a big part of my my audition process. So when we got around to that towards the end of the shoot, it was like full circle moment. So wanted to get that as right as we could possibly do, and I think it came out pretty good.
Oh, did. So it was also very emotional, I guess. Huh?
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
I love that scene.
Yeah, it's
very
great.
good.
Well, the most remarkable day for me was probably the very first day with the puppet. I think it's the first episode, first puppet show. That was, oh gosh, to see those puppets, like, when we were rehearsing, not all the people were in them, but on set it was like somebody in the head, 2 people on the wings, everybody, 3 people in the tail. Like, it was just like such a huge thing. And to see them all move this like giant puppet in unison was amazing. And then there was fire around, people were watching, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I was trying my best to like keep my cool on stage, you know. So that was like truly remarkable. And then most challenging, definitely that big long shot that I have with Finn, and then that whole confrontation there, that was it was like intense on my voice vocally. That was a long day of like crying and screaming, but to get the choreography right, like not just mine, but the camera choreography and all of the background people to like have all of that like lined up perfectly was quite the challenge. Quite the challenge. I'm glad I'm not like behind the camera, because I don't know, I couldn't have done that.
Peter Claffey on the horse pleading with the noble houses of Westeros who will fight for him. I'm somewhere like lingering in the back of shot trying to do like a really surly like, oh, how pathetic look. It was so emotional. The hairs on the back of my neck were like standing, and I was like, I'd fight for that guy in a heartbeat any day. That was the best day on set for me. Yeah.
I think the best for me was one of the first few days where we was the scene where Bertie rides in on the horse, and he's like kind of ramping everybody up for the battle. And I remember the feeling that I got whilst doing that scene. I actually started to really feel like the nerves of a battle, and it just all came flooding in all at once. So yeah, that was a big moment for me.
I mean, it was pretty remarkable once we were out shooting the 7-on-7. You know, this was, there's huge kind of scale involved in shooting a sequence like that, and it was pretty cool when we were all lined up. You know, there's a moment where we're obviously on different sides of the battlefield, but we're all lined up 7 and 7, and I remember sort of thinking then, like, this is pretty big. And in terms of challenging, I mean, actually my first day doing this big sort of dance party thing that Lyonel Baratheon instigates at the end of the first episode was pretty challenging, just because we had to spin around and round for fucking ages, and it was great. But like physically it was tough. It was tough, man. So people talk about all these stunts, but spinning around on the spot actually really hard.
Yeah, I'm always surprised by how actually small moments in shows like these really have an impact, and quite a lot of people have mentioned in these interviews or whatever when Egg goes to reach my hand during Baelor's funeral, and how I slap it away. And I feel like those kind of small gestures really go to the heart of the dysfunction between that exists within these relationships, and it has a kind of universality that is kind of very moving, you know. And so I was struck by how that has kind of affected people, and you always kind of do these things thinking that no one's going to notice them or that they'll barely be filmed, but they can, you know, or small parts, again, they have deep impacts on people and become very kind of instrumental to the success of the show. I think also all the stuff on horses, when actors are on horses, there is calamity not far behind, and so those are
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. Those are difficult scenes to film, but they're also, when they're right, they're just.
I think the challenge was very, very prosaic. You know, the sort of sitting, waiting. The scale of the production and the kind of, particularly the very exciting action sequences, you know, require a huge amount of pre-planning and storyboarding and careful camera work, which means that as an actor you're working in quite a tight confine. You know, there's a lot of setting up has to happen, a lot of lighting, a lot of heavy machinery has to be moved in trucks, and horses have to be wrangled and flames lit and all of that stuff, and then you come in to do your thing, and so the thing is not necessarily responding to you in the way you might like. You have to dance on the head of a pin. I think that's a challenge. Yeah, what's the most extraordinary thing that happens? I mean, it's extraordinary to go to work and your workplace is a tournament field with knights in armour and horses, and that's pretty extraordinary. Not everybody gets to do that. My son came to the set at one point. I thought he was going to be in heaven. He was a 5-year-old boy. He was 4 at the time. And I thought, I'm going to take him to see where Dad works. And it's going to be surrounded by knights in armour and pavilions, banners flapping in the wind, torchlight and hundreds of people and enormous cameras and all the toys. He couldn't have cared less. He was just interested in the chocolate bar somebody gave him. It's brilliant. It's very humbling.
So the most challenging, it was actually something that didn't make it in. Okay. There was when just after Dunk has buried Sir Arlen, we were gonna spend sort of a night with him figuring out what to do, and we were just pouring rain on top of him, and and he was drinking, and we had like a little puddle. He's like sleeping and he's drunk and he's almost like gonna die in a puddle, you know, next to his thing. And poor Peter, man, it was brutally cold and that rain kept coming down and we kept doing it over and over and over again. And he's lying down on the muddy hill in the middle, you know, the thing. And he was such a trooper about it. He was such a sport. And I'm surprised he didn't, you know, say fuck this and just leave us to, you know, to rot. But it's a true testament to his tenacity. It was very Dunk-like in that moment, but that was a challenging day for him. And it's challenging for you to watch, you know, your lead go through this, you know, as you're got your jacket on and you're sitting in Video Village. Yeah. Anyways, that was a tricky one. What was the first part of the question? Remarkable.
Most remarkable. Watching him really nail the "there are no true knights among you" speech that we were on him for, because he had a lot of anxiety going into that one. It's a really big moment. It's a really pivotal moment to the series. It could be quite iconic or didn't nail it. And yeah, watching him succeed and get it right basically on the first go was just a relief. It was sort of the first time that we knew everything was gonna work out. Actually, you know what? And the other time, when Dunk rides his horse in and we see Egg come out of the inn for the first time and they ride up and they stand next to each other, that was a really comforting moment. It felt like something special was in the air, so hopefully that's true.
It's pretty amazing. So it looks so real.
We had an opportunity to make something new and something fresh.
It was unbelievable.
Coolest I've ever looked in anything.
The atmosphere was incredible. We didn't have a lot of acting to do.
Let's go! Woo! As courage deserted the noble houses of Westeros!
That felt good, didn't it?